But you will get assistance once you get to the point of picking universities. Don't worry about that. Okay? So apart from the whole selection process, you will be taking an exam for most master's degree. I think the only cases where you don't have to take the standardized testing is the LLM programs and the non-degree programs.
Correct.
Do you know what an LLM is, or
No.
do you? So an LLM is a master's of law that only takes 1 year. They don't require any standardized tests. You're fine. Non-degree programs is the PhD opportunity that I talked about earlier during the session, and you are not going to register for a full degree program. You're not going to come home with a level of study. So that's why you don't need any standardized testing. But for most cases, you'll be taking 2 tests. The first one is the GRE.
It's a very famous one.
Yeah. And the other one is the Gmat. So I'm going to start with the Gmat because that's the most specific one. So if you studied business and you want to continue with business studies, you will have to take the Gmat. So it is I will explain what a standardized test is. The rest of it is the GRE. What are these for? So standardized tests in general are a way, the word that I'm thinking of is indicateur. So basically they are used by the university or the department to see if you as a student, regardless of where you're coming from in the world, you have the right analytical skills to understand and succeed graduate studies in the US. So this is the use of those exams. So these are not about how much knowledge you have in your brain, it's about how you assess yourself and how you analyze the knowledge you have, okay? It's not about memorizing information, it's about how much your brain is capable of memorizing and how good are your analytical skills, pretty much. And you have 2 sections for both exams. The first one is you have a writing section and
And
a verbal section in the GRE, and you have a math section as well. And the GMAT is pretty much the same thing, but according to what I heard from students who took the GREs and the GMATs, is that the GMAT math is a little bit more developed than the GREs, but the language sections of the GREs are a little bit more developed, the GRE, rather than the GMAT, or compared to the GMAT. These are pretty much the 2 differences. If you are determined to study in the US for a master's or a PhD, do start studying for those exams right this second.
Or yesterday.
Right this second. They're not hard, but they're just so different. Our ways, our academic reflexes are very different from what those 2 exams require. So do start as soon as possible because I think the comments that Nada and I heard most from students who just got out of the exams are, oh gosh, I wish I had more time. I wish I'd given myself more time. So I don't want you to have that regret after you get out of the exam, so start now. Know that you will have to submit those scores somewhere by December, January, February, so you have over 8 months to study for the whole thing. Just get it done, get it over with, okay? They're not hard, they're just different. So, and they require a lot of practice. So the more you practice, the more you increase your chances of getting the right score, okay? And they can be very, very important for most universities, especially the competitive ones.
Is the GMAT is it paper-based?
I'm not sure.
I know that the GRE is computer-based.
It's computer-based.
And the computer will adjust to, on the day of the exam, the computer will adjust to your level of how smart you are, but it will adjust to your level. And so what I usually tell people is that if you start getting like really hard questions, meaning you're doing okay, and then if you're getting really easy questions, meaning that you really need to answer correct questions more, and then at a certain point, the computer is going to adjust to your level. And the very scary thing is that you're going to get your score on the day of the exam. So you would know if you did great or not.
You're going to celebrate after the exam either way. So, yeah. Do you have any questions about these? Yes?
Yeah, do all the fields apply for the test no matter what?
Not all. I mean, I would lie to you if I told you that all universities require these two. It's not true, but most of them do. And Gmat is business oriented, for business degree oriented, and the rest of it is the GREs. The question that I'm glad I wasn't asked today is, I'm a lit student, do I have to take the math? Yes. I'm an engineering student, do I have to take the lit? Yes. It is one exam, and again, it's not about the knowledge, it's about how you analyze things. Most of you, I'll get back to you, most of you have studied the math part somewhere between 8th grade and sophomore year in high school. Nothing past 3rd year of high school. So if I was able to study for the GRE math, I'm pretty sure you all will nail it. So I'm horrible. I'm horrible. You, go ahead.
So can we say that the GRE and GMAT looks like the system of the exam is exactly like the TOEFL system exam?
No. The TOEFL is very different, and the use of those two exams are completely different. So the TOEFL, as well as the IELTS, which is another, I think it's a British way of examination. So the aim of these two is to assess how good you are in English for someone who is asking for a degree in the US as a non-native speaker. So this is why the exams are built differently.
From experience, I took the old version of the GRE and I took the new version of the GRE. You'll get, like, for each section you'll get your own the score. The new score of the GRE's each section, the verbal and the quant, is out of 170. The score starts from 130. And most American universities, they will ask you to have like at least to be in the 80th percentile. And 80th percentile is, I would say, 157, 56 or more, or about that, right? So the good thing is sometimes when you apply to a specific department, they would tell you, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they would tell you that we ask for like 60th percentile in the verbal section, and we ask for 80th percentile or 90th percentile in the quant section, and the analytical section, which is the writing, is out of 6 point. So they will ask for 4 or more out of 6.
Yeah, it scales from 0 up to 6, not
0 up
from,
to 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it depends on the priority of the department to which you're applying. There is no final score and there is no pass-fail system.
Yeah.
Each university, if they provide you with the scores they're asking for, because sometimes universities will say, take the GRE, we'll take care of the rest. They don't give you any information about the scores that you are supposed to submit.
What could help is sometimes when you go on the website of the American universities, which is something I really love about, the websites of the different American universities, is that they give you statistics of last year, the average person who got accepted to the school, what exactly, the scores they got in the whatever TOEFL it is, score, and the GRE GMAT, it depends.
Yeah, but mostly for TOEFL, they can be very specific because they will ask you for a score per section. Sometimes they ask you for a minimum of 20 to 25. 25 of the university is very selective, but I would say 25 minimum because that would make a total of 100. 100 out of 120, I think it's pretty decent for someone who's applying for grad school. Okay, we have high school students who scored 119, so I'm sure you'll nail the 100. Any more questions? Yes?
If I had the TOEFL exam at my potential university requires a score more than
you should retake it.
You retake the
yes.
exam?
Give yourself time to retake it. This is why we ask you to take as much time as possible, because you will have to do those adjustments. If you take, for example, a year to take care of the whole procedure, I'm pretty sure that the list that you've selected from the very beginning of the process will be somehow different from the list that you will end up choosing, because you'll learn about more universities that you didn't think of while you just started your research, or your your GRE or Gmat scores are higher than what you thought you would score, so you aimed some sort of an average list of universities. And sometimes you can surprise yourself. It's not always I didn't score as much as I wanted, so I should cross this off my list. You should bear in mind that some universities are by definition selective. So you can have the best scores ever, you can have the best profile ever, and still get rejected, not because you are not a good student or because you're not a good candidate, because good candidates, tens of thousands of them apply to the same program, to the same university. So sometimes those things do matter. Okay? Yes?
I have a question which is not related about the test.
Yeah?
Is it possible to apply for the Fulbright scholarship if I have already a master's degree?
Yep.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be the same field, or
It's up to you what exactly you want to study.
Yeah.
What's important is that you need to convince us for why you want, convince the committee, the school, why you want to pursue that particular master's degree in that particular field. And also, we're not asking, someone who did humanities to go do engineering. That's going to be hard to do, because some schools, they will ask that you have achieved a bachelor's degree or some kind of credit in that particular, field. So.
Yes, I mean, for those who are currently studying through the LMD system, for us it makes perfect sense that you finish your master's, and because you don't want to get half a degree, you might as well finish it than think of another master's. So for us, sometimes it does make sense if you have a master's degree through the LMD system. But if you're looking for a second master's while you already have a master's, again, it's not about explaining why you want a second master. It's about why you want the second one, why you think the second one is necessary to the whole picture of your career from the day you started it to the day you will have your diploma. Okay, so these are the points on which you want to focus. Okay, and some students, if you want more guidance about this, some students will rather have 2 masters than a master's and a PhD, because PhDs, it requires passion for research, a lot of writing, and some people just don't have the patience for that. So if you know that you don't want to work on research, or you don't want to be standing in a classroom at some point of your life, I think it's much wiser to pick another master's, especially a short-term one. Okay? Does it make sense? Any more questions?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So concerning the TOEFL or IELTS,
Yeah.
what's the minimum score required for the Fulbright?
For the Fulbright program, we usually ask for 80 out of 120, 550 out of 677 in the written, the paper-based TOEFL, and IELTS 6.5. So that's to submit your application. But then school-wise, you need to take the TOEFL IBT test, and we usually ask for a minimum of 96. That's just a minimum. And the good thing is that we started last year for students who score like 96 or 95, and we feel that they need more English training. There is a possibility that the State Department will send them before they start the program to do 6 months of training in a school in the U.S. So that they get ready, improve their English, and get ready to start an academic program.
It's a great opportunity because also universities outside of the Fulbright program, they ask you to come, not to show up to campus earlier, but they ask you to come at the same time as school starts, but not for the master's, but for the language program. And once you take the classes and you get the right grades, that's when you are eligible for what's going to happen next. But if you are looking for scholarships from universities, I advise you to have as high of a score as possible, because they're looking for excellent students everywhere, and money is a limited resource. So try to provide as many solid components as possible.
Yeah, sometimes getting accepted, you can get accepted to a school with not a grade of a score of a GRE, for instance, or a TOEFL, but then you will not be, granted a scholarship, whether it's full or, partial. What makes a difference between students who get granted, partial or full scholarship, and someone who doesn't get anything from the school sometimes is just based on their scores and how good their applications are.
Yep. Any more questions? Just a recap of what you're required to submit. Well, start by doing your research, know what you want to study. Then your grade transcripts, translation of whatever is not in English, TOEFL or IELTS, GRE or Gmat, according to if you need it or not, your essays, recommendations, I think and your resume. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah?
Well, I have a very specific questions. Maybe it will be difficult for the second, for students who are applying for a second time for the Fulbright. So my first question is, my email is stuck to the Embark account, is stuck to my last year application, and I can't access the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is, should I apply with a new email, or there is a way that I didn't
You
figure
have
it
to
out?
create a new account with a new email address, because that account you already submitted your application. The only way you can reuse that is that if I go and unsubmit your application, which is something that I cannot do. So you have to create a new account for that.
Okay. My second question is, during the application process last year, I gave my original TOEFL report.
Mm-hmm.
And I need it for this New Year application. So
You can
I get it
yes.
back? Okay. For the recommendation letters,
Mm-hmm.
can I ask maybe the professors that recommended me last year to
Yes.
recommend me again?
Yes.
Okay. I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you very much.
Sure. Do you want me to grab a little bit to that?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take your question and then, yeah.
Do I need to translate the
No.
transcript?
For the Fulbright program, no. At this stage, to apply, submit your application, you don't have to translate anything. For schools, if you're not applying through the Fulbright program, you must
Yeah.
submit translation.
Whatever needs to be submitted directly to the university needs to be translated.
My second question, I went on a 1-month summer program,
Mhm.
Coca-Cola scholarship,
Mhm.
and I got the G1 visa with 2-year subject. So, can I apply for the Fulbright or not?
For the Fulbright program, you must at least have spent at least a year in Tunisia before applying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that is stated on the, Fulbright program website, is that most of the time we try to give opportunities for people who never went on a program before, never went to the US before. So your application should be very competitive. But you came back last June,
Yeah, August.
August.
Yeah.
So it will be a year in when you submit your application,
Mhm.
I would say. Yeah, go ahead and submit your application, and then, we'll keep you posted when we review the application. More questions? I'm gonna go through the Fulbright program, like real quickly in general, what you should do or should not do when submitting the application. I don't know if I can see show of hands who is eligible or interested in applying this year for the Fulbright program. All right, okay, good crowd.
To work. The other condition, what is on your mind? Someone who can write me a good recommendation. So the content of the recommendation can sometimes be much more important than the title or the name of the person who recommended you. So this is how you should think.
All right.
Well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much
very
for
much.
coming.
Yeah.